Welcome back. It's a Freaky Friday. I am freaking out, and I'm glad that Frankie's with me as usual because he usually keeps me sane in these moments of insanity. We ripped through Gone with the Wind, Paw Patrol, Lego Police Station, Cop from the YMCA. Frank, have you ever played a cop or dressed up as a cop as a kid for a Halloween party, or is there anything that might cancel you?
I think I did. I think when I was 4 or 5 years old, I came across a photo of me recently that my mom had of me wearing a cop hat and holding a gun, I think.
So if that comes, is that like the new blackface? Like if that comes out, like are you going to be canceled from Morano in the Morning
Right,
for one
probably,
time dressing
probably.
up as a cop?
Yeah, you're probably right. I probably will. It's blueface. I was caught in blueface as a young
Oh
man.
wow, you should coin that. Why isn't there like honestly, this is what I was thinking about. Somebody may steal it, but why isn't there a logo that's like a yin yang, right? That's black and blue. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that portray like, all right, we could be down with equality and want
John, you should not walk. You should run to copyright that right now, or that would be
Jess, can you make
huge.
one of those during the show right now so I can trademark it by broadcasting it on national TV? Just take the yin yang and make one side blue and the other dot blue. It'll look unbelievable and we'll own it. It's a Liquid Lunch hashtag. We put it out during the show live today. Jess can do it. We have the technology. She will rebuild it.
Wonderful.
Frank, in the midst of all this craziness, the things we're talking about that were canceled and all the cops live, which I heard you talking about on the Facebook audience, the Seattle is basically showing itself to possibly be like, the Republic of Oregon or something. Like, you know what I mean? They're not acting like
Right.
a U.S. A Commonwealth or anything. And for those of you who missed it, okay, here's the mayor of Seattle. You would think she would be outraged, standing up for her cops. Get away from our precincts. This lady's off her rocker, okay? Mayor of Seattle, Jenny Drunken.
So I know it will shock you that the president is perhaps not giving an accurate or truthful picture. We've got 4 blocks in Seattle that you just saw pictures of that is more like a block party atmosphere. It's not an armed takeover. It's not a military junta. We will make sure that we can restore this, but we have block parties and the like in this part of Seattle.
It's a block party, Frankie. They got the
Hey,
DJs out. They got the cotton candy guy there. The tilt-a-whirl's
look,
coming down next in a few hours. What
I'm
is
glad
this?
I'm glad they're having fun. I think this is unbelievable. There are so many similarities, not only in terms of ideology, but in terms of behavior of these protesters with the Occupy protesters that we saw 9 years ago.
Same
Here's the
bums.
difference, right? Here's the difference, right? And I think they bring up some good points, not many of them, and especially not the defunding the police aspect of it. But here's the difference between what we saw next door. I'm next door to Zuccotti Park right now. What we saw 9 years ago was local law enforcement and the local leadership of the city, led by Ray Kelly and Mike Bloomberg, not willing to surrender this city and let people create a country within a city. What they did in Seattle, to me, is unconscionable. What
That's what
they
I'm
did, and
saying.
if people don't know about this, they took their valuables out of the police precinct and then left
Handing
and
it over.
essentially handed it over
Yeah.
to villains. Even the police chief, she said that was not her decision. So the police chief is saying she didn't want to surrender the police precinct. And the mayor, rather than focus on, wait a minute, how can we get this taxpayer funded building, the police precinct, back? She's calling this a block party and taking shots at Donald Trump on Twitter. To
That's the
me, it's
craziest
like,
thing I've ever seen.
it's almost like Nero fiddling while Rome is burning.
Yeah. And watch this, okay? Chris Cuomo, who I don't always agree with, but he pressed her. Okay, he pressed her and said, but how long do you, like, all right, fine, you did it to calm them down. How long do you think this could go on? Check this out.
You think Seattle in those few blocks looks like this?
I don't know. We could have the summer of love.
Well, tell that to the police who was supposed to be in that precinct, though. But I understand your sentiment, Mayor.
The summer of love, she said, Frank. So that's some signaling right there to the protesters who've taken over a precinct in a U.S. city. That's some signaling. You got a few months. Stay calm. It'll be the summer of love. What? What is it, Woodstock?
Yeah, and in terms of the other behavior that we're seeing elsewhere, I get that people don't like Confederate monuments, and I can't really dispute what either you or Michael Faulkner said about that. But there's a way of taking them down. Governor Northam, he's trying to take down the Robert E. Lee statue. There's a way of doing it responsibly, and maybe those things can be preserved somewhere for historical archiving. Okay, this is what happened in Virginia last night. They not only beheaded, but they totally defaced and vandalized these three Confederate statues. Now, is this where we're headed? Is this what's called progress? Because if it is, we're all in trouble. We'll essentially have government by angry mob. So whether we're talking Frank Rizzo, Theodore Roosevelt, George Washington, Christopher Columbus, or Stonewall Jackson, or Robert E. Lee, there's a way to work through civil society in removing landmarks of the past. Although I'll point out in Italy, they don't remove landmarks. They have a lot of fascist symbols still standing, and nobody's trying to, knock them down. But in America, we have a way of working through civil society, and it's not to take it upon yourself like a statue vigilante and carry out what you perceive to be justice. It really, I find this disconcerting, number one, and I find the fact that there's not universal condemnation of this behavior wherever you fall on the political spectrum, left, right. I find it incredibly perplexing.
I don't understand the collateral. I don't understand the collateral. Like the collateral is cartoons and kids' toys. The New York Times, Frankie, came out and said that they understood why Paw Patrol was a bad symbol for youth because it creates the archetypical police in a dominant position. So it puts the lead dog. What's the lead dog's name?
I've never seen it, but I understand they have really weighty issues like trying to protect the town from an invading glass of lemonade. That's the kind of thing.
The Kool-Aid Man is coming next. Oh, it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. Well, there's a lot of people in this country, and I don't know if you saw that B-roll during the mayor's comments there, but the supposed block party had a lot of white people. So obviously the movement's growing, which is good to see, I guess, if it's peaceful. But give the cops their precinct back. And Frankie, just in a little other breaking news.
And I hope other police precincts or other police departments around the country don't follow the Seattle model and decide that if the crowd is angry enough and righteous enough and numerous enough, we're just going to give you our police precinct. I certainly hope we don't see that in New York.
Yeah, that's a bad example to set. And we'll keep you posted on that and more and the markets right after this. We'll take a quick break, come back with George Santos, Republican candidate for Congress right here in New York.